Hello everyone, this is Nick Perry at Schaefer's Investment Research with your chart slideshow for Thursday, June 14th. Today I am back with my weekly check of the broad market indices. In last week's chart slideshow, we discussed the pullback that was in part fueled by some comments that Bill Gross made, some bearish comments on bonds that were sending some jitters to an already shaky market. But when we looked at these charts, I said that we had pulled back to support primarily, especially in these three situations here. The Dow was a little bit of an air pocket, but basically I said, that the charts didn't look too worrisome. That in some cases we could even see a little bit more selling come in before I would even get concerned. But the bottom line was that things didn't look all too bad, and I left saying that I was going to be watching the comp to see how it traded at that support level. When we turn to this week's charts, we see a fairly healthy bounce. The SPX held right at its 50-day moving average. I'd noted it the last time it tested it back in here. It did little in the way of support, but it's still something to keep an eye on. This was the primary support level, but this was a minor support level at the 50-day, and we did see a bounce there. Somewhat interesting is, if you remember last week's chart slideshow, there was that air pocket that we just discussed. Well, now with the little bit of consolidation in the move up, the 50-day moving average has moved higher, and essentially it looks like we had a fairly close test of the 50-day moving average. That's one of the things, keep an eye on how moving averages work, especially when you get these consolidations and you've got the stock sort of playing catch up, or I'm sorry, the moving average playing catch up to where the stock is. The chart that I said I was watching most closely was the comp, and you can see that the tech laden comp, as they like to refer to it, pulled back and kissed that support zone here, which is basically was resistance here, has been support here, and basically we saw a bounce right off of that area. When we look to the rut, we see we had some choppy behavior right here, a little bit of a dip below the 50-day, trading around that support resistance zone basically. But what we end up with is, let me clear off the chart here. What we end up with is a sort of a pseudo consolidation test of the support zone, and now we see a little bit of a rally back up. As far as my overall takeaways for the week, I guess I'm left pretty much what I was saying last week, that the charts look constructive. Last week we saw the pullback. I said I didn't view that as all too worrisome. It even had a little bit of wiggle room to still go. We saw a bounce this week, so of course that if you're looking at an uptrend, that only helps the uptrend. We do have this major support zone on the SPX to keep an eye on, but that's not in immediate danger of being tested right now. So my overall takeaway would simply be that keep an eye on the support on the SPX there, on the comp there, but so far the chart action remains constructive, and the charts don't look all too bad. That wraps up my thoughts for this week. As always, stay tuned to the blog for further updates.